Hi, you are doing so well by following all lessons in this Python journey. That is Python for data science, and I'm so glad you are following everything. Okay, so in this lesson, what we're gonna do is very crucial. Like I said, everything we're doing in this Python basis is for us to be able to handle data proper. Okay, we want to be able to handle data in a very proper way, such that we can understand the trends in that is happening in data. Okay, to be able to do these we need a lot of basic skills in Python. We need something we call the flow control. um, Before that we have to understand these things I'm about to teach. Okay, the comparison operators. Okay, so I'm going to talk about them and how they are being represented in Python and their meaning. Okay, but you want to recall this, right? The Boolean data type that we did, we said we have two of them, the true or false. Okay, so the comparison operators. Sometimes you may want to compare two things. Either they are equal, not equal, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, and greater than or equal to, right? So the most important parts you need to really get is that the equal sign use two equal symbols in Python. Okay, to say two things are equal, and not equal to is an exclamation mark with equal to. Okay, and then less than, and we have greater than, the normal usual way, and less than or equal to is less than and equal to, right? And so you have to know how they are being written. Now let's come back to two things. We can actually use both the equal to and the not equal to for all data types. Python, we can do that, right? So an example is I can say that the string hello equals hello. Now if I print this, looking at them, they are really equal. They basically the same thing. Nothing is different in here. And if I print it, I should get true, right? These two things are the same. And mostly the comparison operator gives out an output as a boolean data. Either your output you get is either true or false. Okay. Now let's do this. If I print it, I see false. Why? Because I had a space here, and the space became part of the first string, but the other string don't have any space in front of it, right? I mean, right after it. So if I print it, I should see false because there's a hello and there's a space, right? So this is very important. Now if I clear that part and even put a space just before, right before the hello on the other side, I should still get a false, right? But if I don't do anything and I do the same thing for both of them, I should get true because they are the same in representation. Okay. Now let's go to this one. This hello here has one L, the other one has two L's. If I print this, I should see a false because they are not the same, right? So we can use this equal to sign actually for um, string data types as well. Okay. Now let's come back to um, integers and floats, right? I'm saying 43 is not equal to 43.5, and in real sense that is true. They are not the same, so this should give me a true output. Remember the exclamation and the equal sign, when you combine them you form a not equal to. So 43 is not equal to 43.5. That is what this reads, and that should be true, right? Okay. We can actually, if you want, we can create some string here and say that hi is not equal to hello, right? And we should get a true, right? This, oh sorry, this should give us true, right? So if I print, I'm seeing true because hi and hello are not the same, right? Now let me come back to numbers. One thing you should also remember is that whenever you put anything in between quotation marks, that thing becomes a string. Okay, in terms of data type. So once I put this number in between these two codes or these quotation, it means I've converted the number 9 to string. And so when I print this, I'm saying 9 is equal to the string 9, which is false because here this 9 on the right side is not a number anymore, it's a string. In other words, it's represented as a variable or maybe an alphabet or something like that. Yeah. Okay. So this is what it means. So you need to be very careful about all these things. Now the less than or equal to, greater than or equal to operators, on the other hand, work properly only with integer and floating point value. So you can't say, so an example is, you can say that hi is less than hello just because they are, I mean, the length of hi is actually less than the length of hello. But if you type this is false, I mean, this doesn't make sense. How do you even say this is less than hello? How do you even compare them? Okay, so you cannot really use a less or equal to, and the greater than or greater than or equal to symbol to compare to string. How do you compare them? Okay, now if I come here, I can say that, oh, 5 is less than or equal to 4. Is it true? Ideally this is false, right? This naturally is false because 5 is not less or equal to 4. Right, we can say, what about this? 8 is greater than 6. When you do that, yeah, this is true. 8 is greater than 6. um 5.88 is greater than or equal to negative 5, and that is true, so long as the greater than part is actually okay, because 5.88 is actually greater than negative 5, and this, once you see greater than or equal to, it means any one of them should be okay before it can be true. What I mean is, if you had 5.88 on the other side, this should be true as well, because 5.88 is equal to 5.88. So when you have a greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, you should look for two things. Either they are equal to, or the other one works. Maybe, so if I had 5 here, it should be 5.88 greater than 5. That is true because 5.88 is greater than 5. Okay. Now I go to binary Boolean operators, and this actually combines two or any of these comparison operators to give us an output as true or false. Okay, so the and or operator, we have only two of them. Not necessarily only two, but I mean, at this point, let's think of two of them. They always take two boolean values or expressions, so you're going to take two things. um, the and operator evaluates as, or evaluates an expression to true if both boolean values are true. What it means is, two things can be true when you use the and. Your output or your final expression can be true if the both of them are true, and if one of them is false, then you have a false output. For the or operator, you need either one of them to be true or both of them to be true before you can get an output as true. What I mean here, let's take an example to write this. If I use the and, I'm saying 5 is greater than 0 and 6 is less than 10. Is this true? Yes, the first point, 5 is greater than 0, is true. And when you go to the second part, 6 is less than 10, which is also true. So we have true and true. It should give us a true output. All right, this statement makes sense, right? I mean, you can decide not to think about it as just mathematics or something, but in a normal sense, 5 is greater than 0 and 6 is less than 10. This is a true statement, right? um -7 is greater than or equal to 0 and 100 is greater than 10. Is that true? When you go to the first part, -7 is not greater than 0. It is not also equal to 0, so that part is false. And 100 is greater than 10, which is true, right? So you have a false and a true. That should give us false. Now, like I said, choose to think of it as a normal statement. Somebody is telling you that, oh, I know that -7 is greater than or equal to 0, or I can say -7 is greater than 0 and 100 is greater than 10. I mean, you immediately tell the person that you are wrong because -7 is not greater than 0, right? -7 is less than 0. So that should give us a false statement. Okay. Another part is 67.8 is not equal to 0, which is true, or 5 is greater than 200, right? One of them is true because we have this part which is not equal to 0, that is true, or 5 is greater than 200, which is, I know, is false. But because of the nature of the or operator, this should give us a true because one of them is true. Okay. Now when you come here, there's a lot of stuff happening in there. The first thing is, we have in this first bracket here, we have 2 is greater than 3.5, which is false, or 5 is greater than or equal to 4, which is true. So true, sorry, false or true, that this whole thing, this first big bracket here, evaluate to true, right? This whole thing, the first part, evaluate to true. Now I come to this inside here. -1 is not equal to 0, which is true, and 15 is greater than 0, that is also true. Or 10 is less than 10.5. 10, that is true. So this whole thing also evaluates to true. Do I have true or true? I'm sorry, true and true, because the whole thing, the first part evaluated true, and then the second part also evaluated true as well. So I have true and true. When I combine them using the AND operator, I should get true, right? So these are some of the basic things you can think of in comparison operators. When you go to the chapter, I want to check the chapter and tell you the chapter, chapter 2 of our resource book, that is automated boring stuff with Python, right? So when you go to the chapter 2, the flow control, you can get a lot of these stuff to play with using Python, following the codes and the instructions there. That is your task to do. That after this lesson, go through that resource, go to chapter 2, flow control, and try to do as much as you can do there. Okay, but I will still be doing videos out of this and following the same procedure. All right, see you in our next lesson.